Well, hello, Chicago. It's game time for the voice of Chicago sports fans. Chicago Sports Podcast, Monsters of the Madhouse. I'm your man, Brandon Trax. Hi. Friends, thanks you for joining us on this very special Sunday night of Chicago's fastest growing sports podcast. There are more rumors circling our beloved fans and our Bears plans for the number one overall pick in the next month's NFL draft. And there are more quarterback rumors circling Chicago than when our Pro Bowl star guest tonight suited up for the Bears in the 1990s. We promise to answer as many of them as we can for you tonight. And we have just the playmaker for it. The original city playmaker. We are rolling tonight with the Windy City playmaker, the USC Lightning Bolt, one of the most electrifying receivers in Chicago Bears history, and the most famous CC Sports inside of Chris Carter and Caitlin Clark. You know him today as an ace analyst for the NFL Network, Pac-12 Network, and Compass Media Networks. But not so long ago, NFL quarterbacks knew him as their worst nightmare. He is a USC All-American. He is the first receiver in Bears history to post consecutive 1,000 yards receiving seasons. He is an acclaimed NFL analyst today, and he is the one and only Seaway Curtis Conway. Welcome to the Madhouse.
Woo! What's going on, fellas? Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah, they don't make receivers like that anymore, man. They don't.
Also in the building, we got Nomad from Nomad Network, and we're going to go ahead and let him kick things off as the elder statesman of the bunch, and go ahead and get going. I'll respect, bro. I'll respect. Hey, no, seriously, man. Go ahead and hook Seaway up with his first question of the night, brother.
Hey, first of all, I got to salute, man, Curtis, man. I appreciate you for being here, man. Straight up, man. It's an honor to sit here and talk to you, man. It really is. You know, I played college ball. Probably should have played pro ball, man, but this is before NIL money and, things happen, when I was in school. But, other than that, man, I just one personal question I always like to ask. I got a few friends that played in the league, but and it's kind of unanimous whenever I ask this question to any one of them. Or if I've heard them get asked this question, man, what is it minus the check that you miss the most?
Oh, man. It's definitely it's two things for me. It's Sunday in the locker room.
Do it.
Man, I mean, the locker room, because you have so many different personalities in the locker room, man. And thinking back, when we were in Chicago, man, we had some characters on our team that you guys would be surprised, even in the huddle, some of the things and jokes and lighthearted things are being said on the field. It's funny. I always tell people, man, if y'all only really knew.
Oh, I know. I know what goes on. That's crazy.
It's pretty hilarious, man. But definitely, the fellas, the locker room, and man, Sunday was always fun, because you train all off season. Everybody hates training camp. Practice gets boring after a couple of weeks because it becomes routine and monotonous. But so anytime you get a chance to get out there on Sunday, man, it's Christmas every Sunday.
Man, I ken you when I watch your game, man. I've been studying your game for a long time, man. I love watching those USC tapes. And you remind me, because I could tell watching you play, it was just hard for DBs to really, really stick to you. You were slippery. You kind of reminded me of Mooney, man. Do you see yourself in Mooney at all?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you got speed, man, that's an asset. I remember playing against guys, and of course, you get a scouting report, and the number one thing on me was always speed. No matter how big you are, when you have that word next to your name, they got to respect it. No matter how good they are, they have to respect that, because if you're playing press coverage, if you miss, man, this guy can be an undrafted free agent. If he got speed, he's going to make you look bad. So I always knew I had that to my advantage. Psychologically, I'll get in people's head. Like, I'll do stuff like it's a run play, and I know it's a run play, but I'll act like it's a pass play and just sprint by them. And 99% of the guys wasn't as fast as I was, so I'll act like, you know what, look, I had you on that You lucky they didn't throw it. Now I'm in their head a little bit because they never would tell me this, but in their head they're like, yeah, he had me. But I knew all along he was rough. Just these psychological games you got to play throughout the game because the guy on the other side is really good too. So you try to find your edge as best you can.
Man,
see, they don't. That's what I'm saying on this roster right now. You need to find a way to Poles needs to get a hold of this tape so he can bring you in, teach the new receivers we got on this roster that because they ain't had the separation, nothing. They ain't using psychological game, none of that because that's part of the game that they on that offensive side they missing. That
well, you got to remember, and no disrespect to coaching, but a lot of the coaches never played wide receiver. So most coaches, they got the playbook. They're almost like teachers. They got a playbook, and they give you the playbook, and they teach you. And a lot of stuff that they teach is just basic, fundamental stuff. This is why coaches are able to bounce around from team to team to team to team to team, is because once you understand the system and the structure of how things go, your job is to teach your position the playbook and hold them accountable. If you just look at some of the coaches, none of them have ever done it before. You do have some coaches that have played the position and understand the psychological part of it. It's one thing, when you're playing wide receivers, catch with your hands, make sure you get your chest over your knees, all this stuff. Everybody knows this now. But what kind of psychological edge can you get on the guy when you study and film and you see what kind of player you're playing against this week? And how can you get in his head to make him think you're better than what you are? And I think that's where the edge comes with a former player, because we see things that somebody that's never been on the field playing that position, we can see something in a corner that we can exploit. And it's just not a basic fundamental thing. So like I said, at the end of the day, I don't know. I haven't been in the locker room. I haven't been in a film study of a football team, but I know those are some things that, you have to have in your toolbox to have a psychological edge because, NFL, everybody's good, man. So sometimes, your physical attributes is kind of average, even if it's good. It's average compared to the guy that's guarding you or playing on the other side.
Speaking of attributes, one of your biggest attributes, Curtis, was speed. Since you were a kid growing up in Los Angeles, California, you were going places fast and leaving speed records in the dust. Was there a time as a kid that you realized you were pretty fast, and were you always challenging friends and families to races?
No, I wasn't. I was never challenging people to race, but I knew I was fast at an early age. My uncle used to bet his friends that they couldn't beat me running. And he's like 4 or 5 years older than me. And so I would race against guys. Like if I'm 8, I'm racing against teenagers and I would blow them out. And so at that point, if you're beating teenagers and you're in, middle school, elementary, it's got to give you a little confidence. And I would say probably that was the best thing happened to me is being put up against guys that were older than me. You look at football and even sports today, you got a lot of holdbacks. You got 19-year-olds trying to stay back and play in high school now. Well, it was just the opposite for us. We wanted to play up because that showed you how good you were. So when I got to high school, man, and even in college, my psychological edge was, man, I've been doing this against guys that's older than me. So if you were in your 3rd year in college and I was a freshman, or you in your 3rd or 4th year, 5th year in the league, and I'm a rookie or a 2nd-year guy, psychologically, I can go back to that and say, I'm on your level, even if I wasn't. In my mind, I was. So a lot of benefits came from, being put up against older guys because I was fast.
That's what's up. Wow. So you were an All-American, and you did the 100-meter dash, if I'm not mistaken, Cal State. So, and you were a champion in high school, if I'm not mistaken, as well. Hit that?
Yeah, 100 meters.
Yeah. Under the coach Cal Courtney.
Yeah.
Okay. Just trying to make sure memory.
Yeah, Cal Courtney and Archie Amy. Cal Courtney was our head coach,
Okay.
Archie Amy was our sprint coach, and I don't like to leave him out because just like in most sports, the head coach gets all the credit and assistants never get the credit. So Kai Courtney was our head coach, but who actually coached me day in and day out was a guy by the name of Archie Amy. He was the sprint coach there for us. Yeah.
Well, shout out to you, my brother.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to you. And I just wanted to ask you the question I wanted to ask was the track and field regimen, was that like the way you would use? Did you use a lot of track and field to stay in shape during the off season for your football and for your college and football career?
Absolutely. I think that was the biggest plus for me. I wasn't a big weightlifter. I was strong, but I wasn't a big weightlifter. But one thing I understood, there's nothing like track shape. Football speed is a joke compared to track. Track is self-inflicting pain. There's nothing in the world to me worse than training for track, because you can go out and train for track. You can go do it by yourself. You have to go against the watch. Once your coach understands your speeds and your times, now you have to go out there and compete with that time versus, okay, I got somebody next to me to push me. And you can be dead tired. You can be hurting. You have to keep going. You have to be self-motivated to keep going and push through it. And you might, throw up afterwards, body might swell up a little bit. Like, there's a lot of pain, physical pain that you put on yourself in track. But taking that over to football, man, you talking about conditioning. Like, just imagine as a quarter miler, like when I was in high school, I was a sprinter, but we trained from the quarter down, which means part of our major workout weekly was running 600s, was running 500s. And I'm not talking about jogging. I'm talking about we on the watch. And so, that's a hard day on a Monday. Then you got 300s on the watch. Then so all these things, again, psychologically, you're faster. You're in better shape than anybody. So when you step on the football field, what's the furthest am I going to run? 80 yards, maybe? Like, how often am I going to actually run 80 yards? You catch a bomb from the 30-yard line, that ball's going to meet you about 45 yards down the field. That's 75 yards. That's not even a warm-up for us. So psychologically, I can do that back to back to back to back. That's why I was able to, on a run play, run a guy off 30 or 40 yards, see if he's walking back with his hands on his hip, and okay, he's tired, because I knew guys wasn't training like I was training on the off season. So whether you were fast or not, you might run a 4.3 one time, 4.4 one time, or two times, but I can do that consecutively based on my off season track training. And I knew that because I did it in my training. So huge edge from running track. And I think every wide receiver, anybody that's trying to get fast should run track. And you just understand it's going to hurt, man, but that's the one thing that's going to help your improvement, not just running 40 or running some 20s and running some 10s. Actually getting a track program, and you will see how much faster you will be consecutive times.
My son just sent me a text saying, duly noted. He wrote that down. My son's training to be a middle linebacker. He's watching the show. He's weightlifting. He's watching the show, I guess. So
yeah.
He said, duly noted.
Hey, that's what the league is going after, man. The speed. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I want to say Deion Jones. I think he played for the Falcons at one time. The linebacker, wasn't he like 220, 215?
Mm-hmm.
But that dude can run. So, man, if you can run, you can make up a lot. And that's what, trust me, you go to the combine, that's the dunk contest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right.
All right, Curtis, what great track and field athletes or football stars inspired you when you were growing up?
Oh, man, this is something no one knows. I didn't watch football growing up. Believe it or not, I didn't watch football growing up. When I played Little League in Inglewood for 5 years. And all of our games were on Sunday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we played our games on Sunday. So I never really watched NFL. So even after about 3 or 4 years of playing Pop Warner football, you never really saw us up on Monday night. And I was really a basketball guy. The part that I played Pop Warner is right up the hill from the Great Western Forum, and I've always been a basketball guy. So never really had football guys that I looked up to or wanted to be like. Of course, when you play with your friends, you say, "Oh, I'm Lil Swan, I'm Marcus Allen, I'm this." But it was never something where I was obsessed or a fanatic or I'm going to sit down and watch because my favorite. I never had a favorite player in track or football, and I didn't run track until I was in high school because I was football and playing basketball. Basketball was my first love. So if I had to pick out a guy that I thought I would be, it was Magic Johnson.
All right.
I'm an 80s Laker, man. I'm an 80s Laker.
Hey,
no MJ.
Game tape makes sense.
Territory.
Huh?
So you're in MJ territory.
Hey, it's all good because he had some magic moments out there in that field. So you did him well by having him as your idol, bro. I ain't mad at you.
Yeah, you gotta love Magic, man. Back in the 80s. Come on, man.
Hey, that's your hometown. You know, say that was you grew up out there. So
I told you, I'm right down the street from the Great Western Forum, man.
Yeah.
You know, right down the street. Crenshaw and Arbor Vitae.
Man.
Woo.
Hey, Curtis. Hey, man, I got turned into a tape junkie once I got to college. I felt like I had a coach that one of my position coach challenged me. I'm a DB. Yeah. And so I'm a corner in particular. He was like, you're going to the next level, but in order for you to do it, you're going to have to do this. And he started naming stuff. And he told me you're going to have to be a junkie to maintain your advantage. You got the athletic ability, but the guys that work and the guys that study keep a job. You know, kept pounding that in my head. Now I'm prefacing my comment with that because I watched your tape a lot, man. And what kept popping out was how much separation you got. I kept watching DB's alignment against you. They get good depth, probably too much. And the alignment, get pretty good alignment. But I noticed the depth. I could tell who was scared of you and who wasn't by watching how somebody lined up against you. Now, you said 99. I believe you when you said 99% of the guys you came up against, you run right past them. Who's in that 1 percentile that you just like, oh, man, you know what? Now, this dude's different.
Everybody know the greatest one. 21. Man, what? Hey, yeah, Prime, man. Prime is different, bro. He just different, man. You got to think about something. In the history of football, at any position, like Dion told the defense, man, y'all go do y'all job. I'm gonna follow whoever the number one is, and I'm gonna shut him down. And think about the 1 year. I don't know if it was 94, 95, or somewhere in the 90s where, man, like quarterbacks didn't even throw to his side. Like, that's unheard of. And he played man to man, no help over top. Like Dion was real, and I remember playing against him in, I want to say 96, if I'm not mistaken. He was with Dallas. And
hold up, Curtis. Didn't you have Aeneas Williams?
I'm getting to Aeneas.
Okay, all right.
Probably no. Honestly, I'm getting it to Aeneas because he's probably the most. I wouldn't say underrated because we knew who Aeneas was, but he wasn't flashy. And he played in that era with Prime, so Prime was always the guy. Aeneas was always the quiet storm. You didn't want to see him either. He was another guy that was special. He was physical with you. He can run. I think because, and I wouldn't say he was trying to prove a point, but he knew he was just as good as any corner in the league. And it felt like when you watched him on tape and then when you played him, like you never saw a left. You never saw a down game. It almost like he felt like he had something to prove, but he ain't had nothing to prove to me. I already knew he was a dog. So those are guys that you better bring your A+ game, because if you bring your A game, you're gonna have an average to below average against those guys. So you had to bring it like you had to bring it. It was the Super Bowl when you played those guys.
Wow.
And I must say, I didn't have a big game against either.
Why you think he doesn't, when the greats start getting talked about, man? Why you think his name doesn't come up?
Well, it's just like everything else. The media finds the show.
Boom.
And they follow the show. And I mean, think about it. We see the same thing on ESPN all the time. They showcasing one guy. I'm like, when we watching Hoop, certain guys gonna be on TV every day. But man, I'm like, why can't we watch Edwards get down on the big stage? At least once a week. Those small market teams or guys that ain't flashy or quote unquote who the media wants to build up as their guy, and Aeneas wasn't their guy. Again, when you got prime and you talking about corners, man, it's hard to argue anything against them. So, somebody like Aeneas who was pretty laid back, I wouldn't say he was nice, but he was a real cool guy on the field. He didn't, he was just a real mellow kind of guy, I would say, and he was never a trash talker. And per se, 99% of the corners you play, because I don't care if a corner is sorry or he good, he running his mouth. And Aeneas wasn't that.
He was the actions speak louder than words kind of guy.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Everybody, please make sure that you hit that like button and subscribe. Be a friend and tell a friend about Chicago Sports Podcast. Hey, Nomad, go ahead and double down, bro. This is a double down segment that we got, so you can go back to back and ask him another question, because I know it's going to be a minute before you get it back. So go ahead and drop it like it's hot, man.
No. I was just going to say, those.
You had that question earlier before we came on. You had that question about.
About Caleb. Okay.
Yes,
so because you're from the area, man, and you're a UC alum, I'm not going to just assume you know anything about Caleb just because you went to USC. But if you do know anything, how does he strike you, man? How does he come across, and what have you heard?
It's funny today, man. Like, and this is not just Caleb's. A lot of athletes, they're on a different level than we were, man. These guys already got bread in their pocket. They already superstars. So of course, guys of my era gonna look at them different, because when we played, we was broke in college. We wasn't driving nice cars, and and when you in LA in college, bro, like you a superstar. Like, he a star. He ain't just an average college kid at Alabama with a bunch of money that's playing on TV. Like, he in LA. So I don't know a bunch about him, but I'm homegrown LA. I grew up in the streets of LA, played at USC in LA, and played in the pros, and I was on the off season in LA. So I know LA back and forth. So I just put it like this: it's hard to be humble at that age when you got that kind of power and money off the field. Again, like I said, I don't know much about the kid. I don't really ask about him because I'm not that intrigued, I would say, at this point. Like, not saying nothing bad about him. This is just where I am in my life and the things that I'm doing. I don't really look into, what's this guy like? I'll watch ball and try to, give my take on what I think about a guy from what I see during the game. But other than that, like, I kind of stay out of the gossip.
So do you think we need a quarterback in Chicago?
Man, this has always been, I would say.
Tell me how many quarterbacks you had, Seaway. For the record,
man.
Anybody out there that doesn't know how many
Bro, I played 18. I played, and it took a guy when I was working at NFL Network. I never knew this. We were covering the draft, and he was like, if anybody knows anything about quarterbacks, is you played with 18 different. And I thought he was joking. He actually had a list of every, and I'm like, yep. At some point, I caught the ball from these guys. And so I played quarterback myself. So I think I a guy that played pro wide receiver, I think I know a little bit about a pro quarterback, because I've had the rookie first round guy, I've had the undrafted guy, I've had the old guy, I had the young guy, I've had the inexperienced guy. And quarterback is literally the hardest position in sports.
What's the body count, Seaway? What's the body count? How many quarterbacks?
18
Wow.
different quarterbacks. But that includes my career, not just Chicago, because even when I got to the Chargers, every year I had a different quarterback. I had Ryan Leaf, Jim Harbaugh, then Doug Flutie, and then Drew Brees. You know what I mean? Went to the Jets, had Chad Pennington and Vinny Testaverde.
Oh,
Went to San Francisco. Man, I can't even remember who I had at San Francisco. I know it was Rattay, but you know, you get the picture. I've been around.
did you have Jeff Garcia? No, did you have Jeff Garcia?
No, I didn't have Jeff. I missed Jeff. But
okay, yeah, that's right.
Caleb, man. One thing I know about the quarterback position, man, is that you get a lot of critics talking about quarterbacks, and they haven't watched the end zone copy. I don't think anybody should be able to make a judgment on a quarterback if you haven't watched the end zone copy, because you get to see what he sees. And I remember, and I'm not going to put the quarterback name out there, but I remember I was going against the grain with a quarterback that everybody was saying he's going to be great. And unfortunately, when you watch football, I always tell people the camera follows the ball, which means you never see what's going on outside the camera. So a guy can come up and be wide open. The quarterback might not see him. Next thing you know, he's scrambling, and then you blame it on the offensive line. Then you blame it on, his receivers is not getting open. Well, how do you know that? You're not watching a copy that shows he broke up and sat in the zone. The quarterback just wasn't looking at him. And I always
wait. You're saying that even though we're watching tape, we're only watching tape from that point of view. We're really not watching every angle that we think that we're watching.
You got to see what the quarterback is seeing.
Right.
Yeah.
How do you judge a good quarterback? It's not by his arm strength. Can he read the defense? Is he making the right reads? Is he in? Because here's the difference between college and pro, and you never hear a lot of people talk about this. If you watch a college game, the hash marks are different. This is how detailed I get when I study film.
Damn.
The hash marks are different.
Yep.
90% of the passes are thrown to that wide side of the field, trips. When you run trips to the wide side in college, you have more space, which means what?
Yep.
The holes are bigger.
Yep.
So which means you don't have to anticipate. You can wait to see if somebody is open and then try to shoot it in there. In the pros, it's totally different. Those holes are smaller. That side is smaller because the hash marks are now different. In the balls are either in the middle or in the half. So now when a quarterback drops back, he has to anticipate. And if most quarterbacks can't read, process, and anticipate, I don't care what kind of athletic ability you have, you're going to struggle. That's why the Tom Brady's and the Peyton Mannings, who probably are not athletic as people would love them to be, that's why they're so good. The Drew Brees is why, because they can't do all those things. So they have to study. They have to understand, okay, this linebacker is showing in cover 2, he does this. He's showing he blitzed. But when he drops, I can see him drop. I can see this safety. Now I know this went from cover 1. He didn't blitz. This is cover 2. Now I can go to my second read, not my first read. Just all that, he has to do this with a pass rush. So if you're not spending time in that classroom, not getting the reps and the experience on the field, and you're relying on your legs a lot, you're never going to be that pocket quarterback. That's why I said that when I watch somebody like a Caleb or anybody that's a running quarterback, 2 things come to mind. Number 1, he has an asset that's going to be hard for him to tuck away. He has an attribute. He got legs that can make plays. So it's hard to tell Lamar Jackson, Justin Fields not to run the ball. 1-2, read, run. This is an attribute that he has, and he's been using it all his life. How do you tell him to sit in the pocket now? Because the college coaches were using that to that advantage, so they never worried about 1, 2, 3, 4. Whereas the pocket quarterback, he had to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So even in college, he's getting a little bit more film study and advantage because you can't tell Peyton Manning or Tom Brady or Drew Brees after the second read if he ain't open, just take off and make a play. No, you got to go to 3 or 4. So when they get to the pros and the game is faster, the windows are smaller, they struggle. What running quarterback you got to the league and set it on fire like he did in college? Not one. Maybe Lamar. And that's because look where he was. John Harbaugh and the way they run that team is totally different than a guy that they want to just sit in the pocket. They actually tailored the offense to Lamar, to support Lamar. Most offensive coordinators don't do that. Most offensive coordinators hand their playbook to that quarterback and say, learn it. And if you can't learn it, guess what? We'll And that's the unfortunate thing about the guys coming out of college that is used to doing something that it's not going to work that much in the pros unless the offensive coordinator designs the offense around you, particularly around you. So, going back to the Caleb Williams situation, I haven't, to be fair to him, I haven't got a chance to watch the end zone copy because when I see a quarterback running a lot, making plays, either two things come to mind. Either he's not reading the defenses and getting the ball out of his hand, or he's a guy that's used to running, and that's part of his DNA where no matter what's going on, I have confidence in my legs. And, most of the time, if you watch the end zone copy, there's guys open. Guys are just not delivering the ball on rhythm, on time. Like I said, a lot of these guys don't have to, be able to read defenses to a T because they always got that secret weapon in their legs to make a play and get away with it, So to be fair to Caleb, I haven't been able to watch the end zone copy. Like I said, I'm a former quarterback, and I know how important it is when you study in film to see how far the linebackers are, the defensive line. Like you get a chance to really see like who's in this gap, who's in that gap, where these linebackers are coming from, where the safeties are, where the corners are. The side view, which you watch on TV, you can't get a true accurate estimate on that. So when you, again, like I said, when guys are ranking and judging quarterbacks, I always wonder if they watching the end zone copy. I remember a pro guy. They were saying that he needed some wide receivers, and again, I'm a guy that watched film study from a quarterback perspective from the end zone copies. And I'm like, no, this dude just ain't anticipating. This guy is open. He's waiting. And by the time he's ready to throw, that window don't went like that. It opened and then it closed. So now he's pumping, he's holding the ball, and the first thing you hear the announcer say, his offensive line ain't giving him no time. Well, that ball should have been gone. Anticipation in the pros, not wait. So again, that's one of the key components, in my opinion, when you're studying a quarterback. Can he anticipate where that receiver, you hear announcements say, trying to give quarterbacks a little too much credit, he threw him open. No, the receiver knew where the hole was, the quarterback knew where the hole was, and where to move, and they just met where they're supposed to meet because they understand what that linebacker's job was. So he's hooked around him in the hole or slid back out. You know what I mean? So again, there's a lot of things that, I could sit here all day and talk real ball and not just low-hanging fruit that you hear a lot of guys talk about. That's inside the helmet, that's inside the locker room, that's inside the film room. That's why film study is so important when it comes to a receiver and a quarterback, because you have to be on the same page, and he has to trust that you're going to be there.
We need you in the front office here in Chicago, man.
Huh?
We need you in the front office here in Chicago, man.
Yeah, honestly, man, that's if I wasn't a full-time dad, man, I would love to be, a scout or something where I'm bringing in talent, man, because I mean, you couldn't get me right now to sit down and watch a 3-hour football game, but man, I can literally sit in my office and study players. Man, I can do that literally all day because I love to see this. If this guy is really good, what makes him good? Do we have help on the side? Let's take a middle linebacker, for example. Why is he able to roam so much? Well, guess what? He got a D tackle that's taking 2 every play. So that guard or center is not able to block and get up on him because they got to worry about, that big dog right there, they double teaming. So is he really that good, or is based on what he has in front of him making him good? So again, a lot of these things, man, when you want to pay a person, a lot of these things come into factor. You go get a corner. Is he a zone corner versus a man corner? Well, cover 3 and cover 1 can look like he's playing man if he knows how to, if somebody don't know what they're looking at. I always say the best zone corners play press knowing they in cover 3. Why? Because if they impress and they play in cover 3, they just running back to the third regardless to what you do. You can cut it off. As soon as you come back on the hook, guess what? He got a linebacker underneath. He's not worried about that because that's not his spot. But anybody that's watching him on film that don't really understand what the defense is doing and what his job really is, then they could think, man, he a hell of a press man-to-man corner. Okay, well, what was the linebacker? Did the linebacker go with the back, or did he drop in the slant hole? Did he drop in the hook hole? Well, no, that wasn't man-to-man. He made it look like it because he was impressed and he just ran with the receiver. So these are the kind of things, man, like when I studied the guys in college and people ask me my opinion, a lot of the times I was always the oddball. I was always the guy that would probably say something totally different than most because I'm looking for something different. Because you got to remember, man, as a pro, that's what we do for a living. We study film more than we actually practice. So it's not just about how high a guy jumped when I'm studying him, how fast a guy is when I'm studying him. No, like, how is his feet planted when he's playing press? Why is he playing press? Does he have help over time? You know, all these things when you're making these decisions, you have to kind of look at the defense along with it and say, okay, like I said with the cover 3 situation, man, a cover 3 zone corner can come up and play press and look like he got speed and he just running with the guy all the time and the quarterback's not throwing it because he's on him. Well, he's playing deep third anyway. How do I know that? Well, I can look and see what everybody else is doing.
Wow. A lot of attention to detail there. Hey, Nomad, follow up with one more. I know you got to get out of here. So,
yeah, I apologize, Kurt, because I could stay here all day. Because I'm telling you right now, man, you would find our podcast. You'd be right at home with the way you talk.
Yeah, they're on point over there,
man. Dude, I'm telling you, Curtis, man, your mind is just like mine, man. I'm the player evaluation guy. I'm kind of burnt out on tape. I ain't gonna lie to you, but when I have to watch it, just because we do what kind of content we do, I watch it. But
right,
I'm Italian evaluating something. That's what I love to do.
Yes.
I wanted to point out something to you, man, because I can just think back. Like I got snapshots of speed and what you got. A quarterback has time to throw a ball. I can tell just by in the time that you were playing versus what's going on now. It looks like twice as fast, or the athletes have gotten twice as fast, quick, and strong than even when you played. I think what I'm trying to get at is I think the quarterback position is kind of emancipating into something that a running quarterback is almost what you got to have. And it's because of the athleticism and speed of the edge rushers and the players along the defensive line. They're so big, strong, and fast. It doesn't look like I would just say your average quarterback would have 1,001, 1,002, 1,003 at least when you were playing, maybe 4. You know, now it's down to like almost 2.5, maybe 3. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of what it feels like to me. Do you get a sense of that?
Oh, absolutely. There's no question, but you got to remember the game has changed. There's no tight end no more that's on the line. There's no fullback no more that's waiting for that guy to miss that block and come off and knock a defensive end out. Man, a lot of these guys are coming around that edge 230, 220, some very light. When we saw that back in the day, we ran it. We didn't throw. It's a passing league. So when you play 7-on-7 and all you have to worry about is rushing the passer, you don't really have to worry about a downhill fullback coming to block you on top of a pulling guard blocking you. You can be faster. So the game has definitely changed. And in order to play this game today, the way the rules are and the way it's structured, you got to have some speed, man. So I agree with you. That's why I think the running quarterback today is important. So he can break the pocket and pick up some extra yards and not take a sack. So, yeah, I totally agree with you.
Man, yeah. I hate to even leave this conversation because Curtis, it's like you like a blessing right now because – you go into the mindset that mine is always in when talking about football. It's the details about what camera angle are you watching. You can't really tell what a quarterback. How you gonna say he ain't reading his progressions? You don't know what the progressions are. You know that kind of stuff. You know I could talk to you about that all day, man. But I hope you come on and do Nomad Live at least once with us. I believe you will find a home there. I'm telling you, man. It's a good channel to go talk about Bears, man. But I appreciate you guys, man, so much.
Yeah, anytime, Nomad.
Anytime, bro.
See you, Nomad.
All right, man. I got to get out of here, man. I'll holler at y'all later.
I'll let you later, Nomad.
All right.
Hey, so speaking of moving fast, man, you were making some serious moves back in the day. You were cooking, man. You worked your way to SC the hard way, man. Attending El Camino Junior College first. Did that drive that you had to do to prove coaches and scouts, and onlookers to show, hey, I'm ready for D1 college football. Do you think it was that drive that got you there, where you started from El Camino Junior College first? Like, what was that like? Take us back for El Camino Junior College.
Well, it's funny because I didn't even play football at El Camino College. Like when people see El Camino College, they just automatically think I went to JUCO and played ball. My situation was a little different. Out of high school, I didn't go to college. I didn't pass the SAT on time, so I had to either pass it, Prop 48, or play JUCO ball. Well, in the middle of the summer of my after I graduated from high school, you got to remember, I was one of the top quarterbacks. A lot of people don't know I played quarterback, before I moved to receiver in the middle of my sophomore year in college. So my whole career has been quarterback. I was one of the top quarterbacks in high school in the country. I was one of the top sprinters in the country. Like I had letter of intent, and I could have, I basically committed to USC as a sophomore. I didn't even take any recruiting trips. I knew that's where I wanted to go. And anybody that tried to recruit me back then could tell you, like, in school, I went on no trips. I wanted to go to SC. And at that time, I didn't pass the SAT, so I couldn't get into USC. Nebraska was willing to bring me in on a Prop 48 that summer, which meant I could come to school, but I couldn't play ball and I couldn't be around the team. So in my mind, in my ego, I would say, well, you know what? Bump FC. They didn't want me. I'm going to go to Nebraska. I went to Nebraska, man, and a buddy of mine named Derek Brown, who ended up going pro, he ended up playing running back in Nebraska. We were supposed to be roommates there. We actually went there together. And, man, I was in line about to turn my classes in. And while I was sitting there waiting, something just came over me. I was like, man, I'm a Trojan. Like, I always wanted to play at USC. Like, we're USC. I grew up 5 minutes from USC in South Central LA. Like, we used to go up to the Coliseum and play football on the grass. That's how close I lived to SC. So if I was going to play football, I always wanted to go play there. And that's been since I was a kid. So I had that moment while I was in line in Nebraska. Long story short, I ended up coming back home. And, of course, I couldn't go to USC. So I ended up getting a construction job. So that first semester during football season, I'm working construction and I'm studying for at Princeton Review. Because in high school, we didn't have prep SAT courses. We didn't have none of it. And if you went to a prep SAT course, trust me, you paid $400 or $500 for it. My mom and grandmother didn't have that kind of money for that. You know what I mean? So
I feel you.
Long story short, I came back home, I got a job, and I was able to now afford to take this prep SAT course, which I think it was like you take it for 7 to 8 weeks and prepares you for the test. And right after that last week, that Saturday, you go take the test. And so this was in September to like maybe the 1st of October that I did this. Part of the summer, somewhere in October. But long story short, I ended up passing the test on the first time. So now I can go to USC. So I'm thinking I can go in the spring. They were like, nah, we're going to bring you on a football scholarship. We have to wait until the fall. So I'm thinking they wanted me for track. I mean, I was a California state champion and I was ranked top 5 in 100 and 200 in the country as a senior. So I can go in January. Nope. So they had to sit out the whole year. So that second semester after I passed, I knew I was going to go. So I ended up going to El Camino, taking some credited classes that would then transfer in when I went to USC. So I'll be a little bit ahead of the game. So that's where the big El Camino situation comes in. I went there to take a few classes that was going to transfer into USC in the second semester, but I never played football or ran track there.
Wow. That's awesome. And you feel like all of that is what, the D1 looked at you and they saw like you were invested in yourself and all of that. And, you went the hard way. Like it made you like work harder. Whereas just somebody just pulls up, gets a green light, gets a D1. Sometimes, potentially, I had my drill sergeant said that hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And, sometimes you get that talent and you take it for granted and you ain't working hard, Well, you had both, bro. You were fasting the word of God and you were freaking bouncing around like a BB in a beer can, working fast. I mean, you were doing everything. So you had it all, baby. So,
well,
you feel like that was part of it?
Believe it or not, I didn't touch a football that whole year. Whole year I said I didn't touch a football and I didn't even train. I didn't start training. I didn't start training until maybe April when I was at El Camino, and that was because I knew a lot of the guys on the football team and they were going to spring ball. So I was up there taking classes, so we would work out a little bit, But man, I was always a hard worker. Like even when I was in high school, I wasn't one of the best just because of talent. Like I literally loved the game. Like I love to play the game. Like to me, it wasn't even hard work. Like when people say hard work in football, I get it. But like, man, when I was tired, I didn't want to come out the game. Like I got into it with my coach my senior year because I wanted to go both ways. Like, no, I'm going both ways. Like the seniors are gone, bro. We need somebody to play safety. I'm going. Well, Curtis, you are a quarterback. You can get hurt. Like, nah, bro. I mean, in Pop Warner, we went both ways. We ran back kicks. So to me, I didn't know no different. Like, oh, the quarterback can't play because he might get hurt. No, that ain't how we grew up and played. No, we never worried about getting hurt. Like, we just went out there and played. So, of course, when you got that kind of love for something and that energy, man, it's not work. You just gonna keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going until the season is over, and that's when you can't go. So that was my drive for football. It's like, after Pop Warner, what do we do next? Oh, it's high school. Oh, okay, that's where we go. Now I'm going to high school. Okay, well, after high school is over, what do we do? Oh, we go to college because I wanted to continue to play football. So I always tell people I have my degree. I went to college because I wanted to play football. I just keep it real. Like, man, education, yeah, okay. But, bro, like, what can I do to get on that football field? Oh, I got to pass the SAT? Okay, let me go study and figure this out. This guy's in front of me. He's starting. Okay, let me go to the lab and work on my stuff and take what he got because that's really mine. He in my spot. So I've always had that kind of mentality, and to bring it all back into content, like the work hard thing, I would say it came natural, and I didn't even look at it like I was working. Man, it to me was all like. It's just what it was, you know what I mean? I never said, oh, I got to train harder. I got to work harder. It's like, no, man, I want to be that dude. So, like, let's go do some one-on-ones. Let's go out here and get on the track. Because, like I said, I ran track. So, in college, I ran track. So, in the off season in the NFL, guess what I was doing? I was doing track training. I wasn't in the weight room and, trying to get too big, man. I was on the track. So, when I came back to the football, man, when I run them 9 routes, man, that job back was easy. So never really had no chip on my shoulder with the whole JUCO situation, man. It was just, man, that was part of my journey. And, I had a setback and found out what I needed to do to get back on the field and did it.
One of our preferred listeners that he's in here, Baralissimo's got a lot of questions. That's why I say preferred, because he makes it easy for us. He just want to know what your fastest 100 and 200 was.
My fastest in high school was 10:32. So I ran 10:32 in high school, and in college I ran 10:19.
Damn.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then another question that we had in the chat was, out of all the people that you see currently right now in the NFL or coming up through, who do you see that reminds you of yourself, like similar attributes? And
man, it's crazy, man. It's so many fast and good receivers in the league now, man. But I mean, speed wise, you got to go to Tyreek, man. And I will say he's a better, and I would have to say he's a better receiver than I was, just overall, man, in the way they used him. Like, again, we're living in a time where the receivers, like we were lucky if we got 7 balls thrown our way in a game. Not like in Chicago when because our offenses was West Coast, but it was all based on runs. Like our tight ends had 30, 40 catches. Our fullbacks had 30, 40 catches. Now, man, these guys today with speed, they can go get it, man. But like Tariq, when I watch him, like I would be terrified if I had to guard him. Like, it's not only is he fast, long, because it's a difference. It's long fast and it's short fast. It's quick feet and it's long strike. He got everything. Like, his turnover is fast, and once he gets going, he's going to leave. If he's racing a 4.2 guy, if he can't run 100 in 10.4, he's going to make that 4.2 guy look like he's slow. Because there's a lot of guys that can run a 40, but can they keep that speed or even turn over more after 40? And that's what's scary about someone like Tyreek. Man, you have to run with him for 60 yards. I don't care who you are. Forget it.
Yeah.
He's going to leave you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I was gonna say, like, as far as the speed and the get off speed, getting out of his stance, I was gonna say Tyreek's probably about the best comparison. Because watching you get off the line, like, man, that was something beautiful. I ain't gonna lie to you. When I have my 9-year-old, he's going into tackle football next year, and of course, being the obsessed Bears fans that I am, I put on tape. I put on tape. You know what I'm saying? Because he wants to do kick returns, so I show him Devin Hester. He wanted to do wide receiver. I showed him, Brandon Marshall. Showed him you, and then I showed him Willie Galt. So I was like, watch the get off speed. Not so much the route running just yet. Watch how they get off the ball. When they're impressed, when they're playing against zone, stuff like that. And it never fails that he'd be like, I like number 80.
I appreciate that.
That's like someone now. He's like, I'm fast like him, Dad. Show me more of him.
Yeah.
Cool. So I, what I'm saying, just letting you know, what I'm saying, student of the game myself, watching it, and it was a very interesting perspective. Listen to you talk about the end zone tape film. How judging the quarterback, and it made a lot of sense because as much as you want to just say it's mostly the quarterback's fault or it's the line or the receivers aren't linking up, it's so easy to just say those things. But if you're not looking at the tape, how do you really know? Right. So it's one of those things where when you were saying it was so intriguing to me because I do I do like the all 22s and stuff like that. More research just for and I honestly do it. I look like nudge. I just do it just for the fun of it.
Yeah.
I like I want to learn. I want to watch it. I coach my kids. In the sport and stuff. So I'm truly invested into it. And for me, I saw a lot of similarities in Caleb Williams and Justin Fields. If you're not worried about their physical attributes, the height and their weight and who's faster, they're extremely similar. So for me, it's like, why trade for a quarterback that you already have, essentially? Because a lot of quote unquote flaws that Caleb has that I don't see as flaws for, people say it's a flaw. I don't find it as much as a flaw because, I don't find it as a flaw for Fields, holding the ball. They're just trying to make a play. And I think they both see the field the same way. They just go about it a different way. Both can use their legs, but Fields uses his legs. Caleb tends to hold the ball because he wants to try to throw the dagger. He wants to kill you in a different way.
Yeah.
But that's just how I've been seeing it from the all-22. I don't have the end zone view that you suspect that you're talking about. Now, I wish I had it because it would make it easier for me to make a decision as to who the Bears should take. Even though, honestly, to me, I think it's a wash. I think it doesn't matter. I think you're going to get the same guy.
Right.
Just one's more flashier and the other one's quiet and humble. That's about it. The only difference between them.
So who gets the nod?
For me, if I were in the driver's seat, I would give it to Fields only because of the bigger, because he's bigger and he's stronger. Just bigger and the bigger body. He looked like he'll be able to handle more punishment if he were hit, and he's shown that already. Taking hits, whether it's unnecessary or not, self-inflicted or not for a quarterback. Would I be upset with Caleb? Absolutely not, because like I said, the same wild plays that I'm seeing from Caleb, I see from Fields, and I think we'll still get that with Caleb, just more with the arm than the legs. So
Right.
but if I was making a choice, I would stick with Fields just because we already have that kind of guy here, honestly.
Right. Correct me if I'm wrong. Justin has been through 3 offensive coordinators. He's had a different one every year.
Yes.
Okay. Young quarterback, right?
Yeah, he just turned 25.
So just imagine what he's been through in the did he just complete his 3rd year?
Yes.
So just imagine in the last 4 years he's played in 4 different offenses. What did I tell you the most key component to playing quarterback is?
Consistency.
Mental.
Mental.
When a quarterback comes in, he has to learn that offense. Number 1. Number 2, within that offense, when he's on the field, he has to look at that defense and not only know what he's doing, his 1, 2, 3, and 4 read is, he has to look at that defense and understand what they're doing pre-snap. And then post-snap, they might do something else. He's had to do that 4 different years. Nobody's going to be successful doing that. So again, the low-hanging fruit is Fields is not that good. A lot of players get caught up and they're to blame. That's what I'm saying, man. When you understand football, you got to be able to go in there. Like, no, I would love to sit down with anybody and have this conversation because I experienced it. I played quarterback. So I know what it's like to be back there, have to know all my plays, my checks, try to get out of a bad play because offensive coordinators call plays based on tendencies. 3rd and 7. We got three plays for 3rd and 7. We're going to call that. But, we practice this defense versus this play. They're not in that defense. So what would a Peyton Manning do? Check out. What would a Tom Brady do? Check out. And he's going to check out with confidence whether he messes up or not. He had to build that confidence. And guess what? Most young quarterbacks not going to do that. Why? Because if the offensive coordinator call a play based on tendencies, the quarterback can see different and might not check out. Why? Because he got to answer to him. Because if that play don't work, what do you think that coach gonna say? Why didn't you do what I said? Well, I saw this, coach, but if Tom Brady does it, man, go back, Tom. What did you see? I saw this. Okay, let's move on. So again, I'm going back to the cycle. It has nothing to do with physicality. It's all here. So in my opinion, Justin has a jump because he knows the playbook right now. Caleb has been in that offense since he's been in college, and he's been freelance. So now he's got to come and tighten it up a little bit in this offense. This is why they be wanting these coordinators to come in with these guys. So their offense, they're used to that offense. If I'm not mistaken, when Peyton Manning left Indianapolis, he didn't go learn a new offense. He took his playbook. Y'all learn this.
Yeah.
This is what I do.
Tom Brady did.
It's genius because why would somebody that has mastered a playbook go and learn something different? So this is what quarterbacks do. Look what they did in Green Bay. They've had 3 quarterbacks. Why? Because that one boy gonna sit and learn. He's gonna see these situations 3-4 years. Then when they push him out there, he's ready to go. He's gonna have his shortcomings because he hasn't had live actions. But I love, and I know that's our rival, man. But to me,
I love how they do it too.
I know how they doing with that. I've been in the locker room and in the meetings with Cade McNown as a rookie. Smart kid. That NFL playbook is different. It's easy to get on the board and look smart and then get on the football field and actually have to use your physicality with that. You don't have no pressure. You don't have no pass rush coming when you on the whiteboard. You don't have no moving parts when you're on the whiteboard. You're not worried about getting sacked. There's no consequence if you get it wrong on the whiteboard. It's a lot of consequences. So sometimes quarterbacks freeze up. So that's what I'm saying. When it goes to the quarterback position, man, you lucky to get a Patrick Mahomes. You're lucky to get a C.J. Stroud. And unfortunately, the league has gotten lazy, and that's what they're looking for. And if we don't get that, we'll just cut you, blame it on you. Why every year we got to have a quarterback at the top of the draft? Why do they get picked first? Because they hope and they landed. let's give Andy Reid a lot of credit for Patrick Mahomes. Andy Reid, think about what he's done with quarterbacks. You know, man, I'm a huge Michael Vick fan. Man, the way Michael was spinning that thing in Philly, come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on.
He had it all together then.
You know what I'm saying? So that marriage has to work. You know, I got to be able to say, okay, I don't care if you run around and you throw the balls. Like a lot of stuff that Patrick is doing, some offensive coordinators would have been upset if he was doing that. But because we have a coach in Andy Reid, so again, it goes back to so many other things than what we see. Oh, he's 6'5", he's big, he's small. Oh, he's fast. Man, the greatest ones played from right here.
Yep.
The greatest ones played from right here. And you can't play from right here with 3 different coordinators every year, 3 different systems you have to learn every year as a pup. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
part of the blame has to go to the Bears. Let that kid develop, bro. Let him develop in one offense, and you drafted him, so you feel good about him. Now give him what he needs. You went and got a receiver, but he needs some stability in that room that's teaching him. What happened to Jones when Josh McDaniels left? How do you go from the Pro Bowl to that?
To being traded, to the Jags. Now you're back.
No, man.
Yeah.
He was in there with Josh McDaniels. Tom Brady was in that room with Josh McDaniels. He may not be a great head coach, but it's something about Matt Castle. So again, man, that marriage in that room is way more important than these things that the media and these people talk. In my opinion, like I said, I played in the league 12 years. I had 18 different quarterbacks, and I played quarterback. I think I have a little bit, and I've studied, with doing the draft. It's more than just running the 40, jumping high, let me see his ball come out, what kind of leadership, because some quarterbacks know how to talk like a leader. They're good politicians. They know what to say in front of the media. They know how to say the right things. Oh, man, he's so smart. How is he so smart? I want to see him use his brain on the field. Can he process this fast enough to go through his stuff? And that just comes with experience, bro. Peyton Manning rookie year was what? Trash.
Yeah.
Let's keep it, man. I'm a huge Peyton Manning fan, but let's just keep it 100. And Peyton wasn't going nowhere because they was really vested in him. Tom Brady had an amazing defense early on in his career, so he wasn't relied on. As he grew, Belichick gave him more. And guess what he was meeting with? He had Belichick as a defensive guy teaching him what they do. And then he had Josh on this side helping him with the offense. Then with that structure and that chip on his shoulder, you developed the greatest quarterback who went in the 6th round.
Yeah.
Probably was the worst athlete athletically in the draft. And he became the best quarterback to ever touch the rock. So that's my opinion, man. When you start talking about moving these quarterbacks, I understand the business. I've talked to a couple of guys in the front office. Well, this is just where the business is. Well, guess what? Everybody's going to continue to draft a quarterback and blame the quarterback. That's the problem, They blame the quarterback for everything. He's not good enough. Just imagine this. You got a playbook, and you going into a game. Our playbook was like this. I don't know what it is now, but our playbook was pretty thick.
It's
and
about the same.
You know that 3rd and 7 count goes like that. The more you know that 2nd and 8 plays are like this. And not only do the coordinator have it at his disposal, but you know it well enough to know you can check out of one of these to go. And that just comes with experience in this offense. When you get this, then you get a new one, you go back to this and you start all over, unless you played in the same system. And the terminology might be different. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like with Justin, man, 2 things needs to happen. Give him somebody, fail or succeed, give him a coordinator that you're going to keep these 2 married for at least 3 years and go get you another bona fide receiver to take a guy out the box. Now you got 2 options. And if you get a solid number 2, because DJ going to kill people one-on-one. So now if you get somebody on the other side that can beat one-on-one, Guess what? When it's playing man, you look at the matchup. Easy read. When you got zone, now guess what? You got to worry about these two and not just one. See what I'm saying? Now the defense is a little bit different. It spreads out a little bit more. So there's so many things, man. But again, the business side to me, it kills the young quarterback because they expecting these guys to come in and do what CJ did, and that's the outline.
Yeah, I think not that it was a fluke. I just feel that CJ technically walked into a better situation. He walked into a situation where the OC ran a similar system that they had in Ohio State. So it's just different terminology for him. So and then the weapons weren't given the respect because of the quarterbacks that were there prior.
Right.
And, those guys, those receivers were put in a bad situation because the offense didn't fit their skill sets. Right. They get a coordinator who runs that wide open scheme that they similarly that CJ ran similarly in Ohio State. Then all of a sudden you're like, oh, Tank Dell, all these guys are flying around. Like, oh, where were these guys? They were there. They were always that good. Like you say, it's just you had a coordinator who was smart enough to figure out, like, let's just simplify the routes for the receivers and, change up some of the lingo that he learned in college for the system he's running here. That's it. It's pretty much dead for him. So,
hey,
folks, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe and like button and follow us on Chicago Sports Podcast. Right now, you're hanging out with Curtis Conway, Seaway, number 80s in the building, folks. Yes, blink twice. He's here. He's alive and in person. That's awesome, man. It's so cool. Thank you so much for spending some time with us. Dano, you got a question for him, Seaway?
I mean, not right. I don't have anything right now.
I can go and talk to you for hours, my friend, but I know you probably got things to do, man.
Yeah, I got about 15 more minutes.
Curtis, once you hit USC, you were declared West Coast primetime with your electric kick return and receiving work. Was your attitude that every time you touched the ball, you were going to make something happen for the Trojans? And what was that like getting in the huge, I mean, just like walking in the building? That was my very first field trip. We took the school bus there. It was like an hour drive when we got there. Like, this is SC. And I was like, my eyes got all big. I was waiting for some swords to come out and people, and I was so excited, man. What was it like going in the,
I see the twinkle in Track's eyes when he's talking about this.
Yeah, it was surreal for me, man, because I grew up on 56 on Central, which is probably about eight minutes. 10 minutes from the Coliseum. And I lived on 39th in Vermont, which is literally right down the street from the Coliseum. And in 18 years, never saw the inside of the Coliseum.
Wow. Never
saw the inside of the Coliseum until I was getting recruited. When SD brought me in on a recruiting trip and they put all of our names on the board. And that was the first time I've ever been in there. And I was just like, wow. Like, I've never been inside a football stadium. So it was just like surreal to go from high school. Now you're walking in this big old stadium, not to mention the Rams and the Raiders used to play in this stadium. So to me, it was a pro stadium too. So it was just like, wow, like, this is huge, but the football field was still the same size, So it was definitely a surreal situation when I first walked in the Coliseum. But in my mind, because you got to remember, when I went to SC, I was quarterback. So think about a quarterback returning kicks as a freshman. I had an amazing quarterback that was starting in Todd Marinovich, man. And I had a few other guys that was in front of me. A guy named Shane Foley was in front. We had some quarterbacks that were really good. And plus, again, I'm fresh off the year not playing football at all. But I wanted to play, man. Like, I can't just sit here because, third, fourth string quarterback as a freshman, you ain't going to see the field at all. So that was like, nah, I got to do something. So I used to go to the coach and ask him, can I return kicks? Man, I'm fast. I can run with the ball. So, I had to prove myself. And first game, he let me return kicks, and I did really good. So as I was playing quarterback as a backup, I was able to get on the field as a returner, punt returner, and the kickoff returner. And so that was kind of my thing. I said, this is probably going to be the only time I'll be able to touch the ball and run with it is on kickoff. So I want to make the best of it. Once I started playing wide receiver, we was probably dominated a run dominated offense, which is crazy because the guy on the other side of me was a first round draft pick the year after I left, and the 4th round draft pick the year I left. So we had a strong wide receiver core, but back in those days, the run was kind of the formula for football back then. So again, we wasn't getting a lot of balls thrown our way, even though we had a really good receiving core. So returning kicks was another opportunity that I knew I didn't have to worry about a play being called or a quarterback throwing me the ball. I knew I'm getting the ball to the point to where I stopped even fair catching on punt returns. Like, no, I'm not doing that. And they start squib kicking it in. No, I'm not. No, I'm running. Every time I get out, I'm touching the ball. And I got a little arrogant at one point when I was doing good. I just tell the offense, y'all might as well stay down because y'all not coming on the field. I'm taking this to the house. It was a confidence that I had because I wanted that ball in my hand so bad, and that was an opportunity. And like I said, for 2 years I was playing quarterback doing it. So that was kind of my mentality as a returner. Is I want the ball, I'm gonna get the ball, and I'm taking it to the
So Curtis, out of the 18 quarterbacks that you played with, would you say it's safe to say that you had the best chemistry with a guest we had on a couple of weeks ago, Eric Kramer?
Oh, absolutely. Not even close. Not even close. See, you got to remember, me and Eric was there, and we got a chance to work before that year. So I got a chance to gain his trust. You got to remember, when Eric got there, I hadn't done anything. So I had to earn his trust. Jeff Graham was the guy. See, I get a lot of attention, man, but Jeff Graham had a lot to do with my success in 95. I was the 1st round draft pick that they were ready to explode. Jeff had already in 94 was putting it down. So when 95 came, if I'm a defense, I'm not worried about 80. I'm worried about 81. And if you look at the first beginning of the season, I had a lot of one-on-one coverage. Remember, I only played receiver for 1 year, so I was really, really raw, a lot to learn when I got to Chicago. But because I was the first receiver taken and the #1 draft pick, my expectations was off the roof, but my experience was nowhere near that. So Jeff helped me to develop my receiver skills and understand certain things, not to mention I came into my own in a year where he just came off a pretty solid season. So everybody's focused on him. Now I'm getting one-on-one. Nah, that ain't happening tonight. You're not playing me one-on-one and gonna be successful. So again, it goes back to what I was saying about having somebody else. A lot of my success came because Jeff Graham was over there putting in work too. You got to remember, Jeff Graham had 1,300 yards this season.
Wow.
I had the touchdown. So again, I was the highlight reel. I was the touchdown. I was the dun-dun-dun. But Jeff, he was putting in the real hard work that allowed me to get these coverages my way until probably the 5th game. And then I start seeing double. And then you'll see me play well one game statistically. And then the next game, Jeff Graham will play well statistically because now I caught up to him. And now we just having fun out there. Now Eric is just, man, I'm telling you, man, we were so arrogant in 95 on offense, bro. Like, there was not a defense that we felt we couldn't score on. You know what I mean?
There wasn't. That's the part that irritates me.
Yeah, man, if you go back, man, we was in the top 4 in the NFL in points. With a bunch of guys that nobody really was talking about. We put in some work that year. We had Salam as a rookie. We had Robert Green and Raymond Harris. Keith Jennings was scoring touchdowns. Brian Redknight, rest in peace. These are a bunch of no-name guys out here putting in work. We just came into our own at the right time, and thank God we had Eric to take every single snap. Yeah. Like Jeff Graham to me, man. It's so funny, man, because Jeff is one of them laid-back guys. Never cared about the limelight, man. But like, I have to give a lot of credit to him for my success in Chicago. When he left in '96, and I was by myself. if it wasn't for being able to watch him run routes versus double coverage, because now that's what I had to do. Now he's gone. Now I'm the circle. Now, how do you run this route when you got two people on? Who do you worry about? So, a lot of those mental and, taking a lot of pressure off him came from 81, man. And from that point, he gave me an opportunity to grow while he was there. And when he left, man, unfortunately, I had some injuries that, I couldn't, play whole seasons for whatever reason. But, man, he had a lot to do with my growth.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Seaway, in 95, 96, you got me in so much trouble, bro. I took my Walkman and I shoved it inside my coat at church. I had a 3-piece. My mom took me. My mom took me to the Men's Warehouse and got me the 2-for-1 or whatever special they were running. So I had this really nice suit. I had it all up, and then I'd put that in there, and I would do one of these things like this. And and that she didn't know what I was doing at first, but then you and Kramer were lighting it up, and I was like, yeah, like that.
Man, you can't take that in the Lord's house, man. Don't have me get you in trouble.
Yeah, but I think I got a pass because we're on the West Coast. So your games that started at like noon started at 10, and it was church time. So I had to take you guys into the Lord's house so we could get
the Lord understood it up. You were there, right? I just stay at home like the rest of the guys and watch it. I'm here.
Yeah, man. Hey, that's we said not church. Hey, wait, look, I was doing the same thing. I just didn't get in trouble because it was my dad who had the stuff. So, you know what I'm saying? It was my dad hooking us both up, hooked me and my brother up. He's sitting there, he's like, oh, yeah, praise Jesus. And he's like, hey, we just scored.
Hey.
Hey,
Leroy, don't worry. My mom brought the heat. She was my mom and my dad, so she swung for the fences. I was a big boy too, so she made sure it counted. Every pew behind us heard that smack. I was like, oh,
yeah.
But
I know exactly what you're talking about, bro.
but a follow up in 95, 96, Curtis, Curtis Conway is the harder to lock down in a prime parking lot spot in Michigan Avenue. He was hard to lock down. And but what was the secret to your success, though, man? I mean, during those 2 record-setting seasons when you became the first Bears receiver record consecutive 1,000 yards and caught 19 touchdown passes, and Foster just took me to school. He told me, where is it in the chat really quick? He says he saw all of Curtis games with the Bears. Well, hold on, this is him right here, guys. But that one SD season, not sure if you guys know this, but Curtis averaged around 16 yards per catch, receiving and rushing. He thought it was 2001. Man, 16 yards per catch. That's freaking bananas, man.
Yeah,
I just wish it was with the Bears. That's all.
Well,
no, man.
Well, it was,
why you have to bring that stat up, bro? Come on, man. That's not fair.
You got to remember to the Bears' defense. You got to remember that was the last year. There was the end of my second contract, and I had some injuries. Marcus Robinson started balling. Marty Booker started balling. So, and for me, I just kept seeing a different quarterback, man. I wanted some stability because, once you grow mentally in the league, you don't become, you're not naive no more. You kind of see how things are. You look at Dallas and you see Michael Irvin got Troy Aikman every game, every year. You look at Jerry and he goes from Joe Montana to, Steve Young, and they end up, every year they got the same guy. And, a lot of people don't know when you switch quarterbacks again, the playbook gets smaller, based on what he knows. And most backups don't know everything. So you can't call everything that we were doing when Eric Kramer was in the huddle. So now it's like, man, we can do this. Oh, but the quarterback don't know this. He's not comfortable with this, so we can't run it. So we can't go to the media after the game and say, well, man, the reason why we're not doing this because the quarterback don't know all this yet. We got to be politically correct. And that's what I always say. There's a lot of things that go on that a coach can't say, the player can't say. That's why the locker room is sacred, because it's a lot of things that go on that, unfortunately, we can't really speak on until we retire. But it's a lot of stuff that takes a lot to win, man. It takes a lot to be successful. You know, I had a conversation with a Hall of Famer about a year ago, and I had never spoke to him ever in our career, and we just always had a mutual respect for each other. Finally got a chance to talk to him on the phone about some business, and the first thing he said was, "Man, I just want to say, bro, I got a lot of respect for you, man. Like, we got a lot of pub and a lot of Pro Bowls." He said, "Bro, but if you would have just had a good quarterback for at least 6 years straight, you would have been the Pro Bowl every year." So for me, man, being able to be around my peers, and not just my peers, but I'm talking about the dogs, the Michael Irvins, the Marvin Harrisons, the guys that I run into when we have these conversations, for them to be able to give me that kind of credit, it goes a long way, man. So, the secret is not a secret, man. It's just work, bro. If you love it, you're going to work and you're going to get better. And unfortunately, injuries play a factor, if you can stay healthy. The right system. I mean, football, especially on the offensive side of the ball, it takes a lot. I mean, again, if you go back and look at the targets that we were getting in the 90s, quarterbacks wasn't dropping back like they dropped back 40 or 50 times a game, and you might get 10 thrown your way for 3 weeks straight. That was unheard of. We're going to run the ball. The run set up the pass. So,
Yeah.
It's a different game, man. But in 96, again, I had another veteran. Dave Craig. I think it was Dave in 96 that took over. And I just remember playing with Dave. As funny as it is, the veterans, they knew how to recognize defenses and get out of a bad play. There was times Dave would be like, "I'm throwing you the ball." Like in the huddle. Literally just tell me. And it was like, we break the huddle, we run the play, and here I am. Okay. It's like he knew. But again, Dave Craig was a grandpa playing with us. Physically, but mentally, he had seen everything already. He knew how to study film. He didn't care if our offensive coordinator called a play. If he saw something, he was going to check out and run it because he'd been around a long time. So that's why I always say the advantage of having somebody that's been in the system that the offensive coordinator trusts, and he trusts, and he has confidence in the mental part of what he's doing out there. Because now, you can play ball, and that's what I had. And if you look at the quarterbacks that I had, I've always had success with the veterans.
Curtis,
you go to San Diego. Who did I have? Doug Flutie. When I had another breakout year with Doug Flutie. I've had a lot of success with the older guys.
Curtis, what do you think were the missing pieces from Coach Wannstedt's 90s Bears team that prevented them from being NFC division champs or perennial playoff team?
In what year?
Just in the 90s when Wannstedt was there, the mid 90s.
What prevented us from being? We couldn't get on the same page. We couldn't get on the same page. You got to think about it. In 93, the defense was solid. In 94, we couldn't score a touchdown. Defense was balling that year. They were doing really well, and we couldn't do anything. And then in 95, it flipped. They couldn't stop anyone, and we were scoring points. And so we could just never play together as a team, man. I don't want to just say it was a defense because, again, man, I remember being frustrated on the sideline, man, when defense come out 3 and out, and they looking at us, come on, let's get something going. We go out there and we 3 and out. Well, you know what? They tired, but they back on the field. So it's hard to say, man. Like I said, you gotta have some luck. You gotta have the right pieces. And football ain't as easy as people want to seem. Like right now, I remember that commercial Michael Jordan made where he said, I'm sorry if I made the game look easy or something like that, but all the work he put in, like Kansas City and New England making it look easy. But, bro, man, it's a lot of hard work and it's a lot going into football, man. It's got to be a lot of positive moving parts moving. You got to remember, too, in Chicago, how many times did we actually play with the same quarterback, regardless to what the defense was doing? Just about every year I probably caught a ball from 2 or 3 different quarterbacks. So it's tough, man. Like it's hard to pinpoint one thing, and it's definitely hard to pinpoint one quarterback. I know we was terrible in '94, and then they turned around and couldn't stop nobody in '95. So it's a wash.
Yeah. Real quick question for you. Kind of parlaying on, some of the stuff you were talking about early on, about the draft and the quarterbacks. And your last question kind of got me thinking about this. Is there another, kind of smart, can't miss draft player? I mean, quote unquote, can't miss guy, to play out there for the Bears to draft. I'm not, top of my head, Marvin Harrison Jr. You think that they could be a possible person that could solve the quarterback problem? Having someone, I know you kind of hit on it before for the young quarterback having another elite receiver with, another accomplished receiver. Do you think that's maybe the solution that the Bears should probably go with if they decide not to trade out of that slot with the first pick? You think that'd be a smart move maybe, or you think it's too risky?
No, I agree. And I think it's a win-win. Number one, you give Justin another year in the same offense to get better. You'll be in his 4th season. Anybody that knows me, I always say I've been around long enough to know that, you sign a 5-year deal, get a quarterback at least a good 3 to 4 years, and not the way Justin has been playing 3 to 4 years. If a quarterback can't get it in 3 or 4 years on the same offense, something ain't right. You just miss. But you can't take a quarterback and get him 3 different guys in the room 3 different years. And let's go back to college. That's 4. So he's been with 4 different guys telling him how to play quarterback. That's not fair to Justin. Why I think it would be a plus, and I haven't gotten into details with, because again, who's gonna give you what you want for the first pick? Salary caps, who want to sign? It's so much. That's why I don't give GMs a hard time either, man, because there's so much that go in to everything that if you're not doing the job, it's hard for you to really sit there and say what somebody should do because you don't really know what actually goes into everything. But I'm just saying the low-hanging fruit for me would be not to draft a quarterback. Let Justin finish out his quarterback. However you can get Marvin, go get Marvin Jr., and now you got Superman and Superman. You don't have Batman and Robin. You got Superman and Superman on both sides, right? Justin is in another year of this, another year of the offense. The great thing about having those two, if Justin doesn't work, what free agent quarterback wouldn't want to come to Chicago and play with these guys? Yeah. Man, you can go get an average 6, 7, 8 year guy. And I guarantee you, with Marvin Harrison Jr. and DJ, man, that offense will flip real quick. It'll flip real quick. Just my opinion, because I know how veterans play. So again, what free agent veteran, I don't know who's up, but I'm just saying, if Justin doesn't work next year and he has these two or they don't see no growth, what free agent quarterback wouldn't want to come to Chicago? The best city in football, and you got 2 studs at wide receiver. And they're going to give you a bag because they got to. To me, Chicago wins. You got the bait to lower the hottest free agent quarterback next year, whoever that may be, if there's one. But you got the bait. You got DJ and you got Marvin to lure in a guy if Justin doesn't work. So that's how I look at it.
Mm. Thank you for that. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, bud.
Seaway on the 8, everybody. 70 in the building, man. You're breaking records right now. Seaway, everybody's coming to see you, bro. Everybody's coming to see you.
Man, we're talking ball, man. We're talking a real ball. We're not talking, we're going to go get some data, some statistics, and We talking real football here, man.
Yes, sir.
Nomad
numbers and all that stuff. Nah, we talking ball, man.
Yeah.
No Madden football in this chat, man. I would see what he ain't having it. Neither are we. So, hey, don't forget to
I'm all
hit that
for it,
like
man.
and subscribe button. You know, at the back at the home front, just like Dominic Toretto, you've always been about family first, and you've got two kids, and one of them, you and I was conversating just for a little bit. You had a break in the day the other day. You had a tourney going for softball, and you said your daughter was a beast on at the diamond and plays just about every position. Your son, and then your wife. For anybody that doesn't know, you know, he's married to Muhammad Ali's wife, Layla Ali, and, you know, TV personality. I mean, you guys are so busy, so much stuff going on, but just the kids and the sports and everything. Like you said, you don't even want to get into that realm of coaching because, you know, family first, you know. So, but can you take us like a little, you know, journey of what a day in a life is like for you two busy, you know, celebrities, and what it's like to balance all that, you know?
Well, we both don't like to consider ourselves celebrities. That's why we when we go places, we go as a couple, we go as a family. You know, we regular people, man. To be quite frank, and so we do what regular people do, man. We, you know, people think because we, you know, they look at what we have and think, okay, you know, we've had people like, what y'all doing in Target? What y'all doing here? Like, we shop
baby.
Target too, you know what I mean? Like, yeah,
Starbucks,
we got that, but yeah, we go here. It's like any other person, man. Like, you know, it's sad that, you know, we look at people in the limelight, and what's sad is they take advantage of people looking at them a certain way, when really, man, I'm no different than the next father, you know what I'm saying? In terms of being a dad. Now, financially might be different. People might notice me, that might be different, but man, I still got the same issues that and pressures and you know, fears as a father, you know, raising little girls, raising men. Like, I don't think about football when it comes to my kids and how to raise them and who we are and who their grandfather is and who their mom is. It's like, no, I'm trying to instill real morals and values and leadership and all these kind of things in them. And so, you know, I typically, because now, you know, me and my wife, we had a sit down before we had kids, and the first thing we said is, you know, we don't want to have a nanny situation. We don't want to do that. So once we start having kids, we both was transitioning out of our first careers, and we both was doing pretty good when we had our first. And so he was a baby, so we were able to still kind of do what we were doing. But as they got older and we had a daughter, they started getting older. They started getting involved in sports and different activities. Well, you know, to be, you know, for me to be the kind of father that I wanted to be, I couldn't be traveling all over every weekend and missing games. I didn't want to be that guy. So I'm like, I had to sacrifice, you know, my broadcasting career and some money. And I don't even consider it a sacrifice. It's just family is the top of the priority list. And what do you got to do to be a present father? Because my wife, she's doing so well in her business, and my wife she's an entrepreneur. She's still doing well. So thank God either one of us could have kept going. But my wife, she's a beast at her brand, man. And so it was only right for me to sit back and kind of, you know, be the Mr. Mom. And so like, my wife gets up people won't believe it, but she literally gets up every morning and cook breakfast for the kids. I take them to school.
Well, I believe you, bro.
Yeah, we come back, either I work out. I'm trying to learn how to play golf, but because this is the second year that I'm not broadcasting or traveling, doing anything. So I'm trying to figure it out. It's kind of weird, you know, taking the kids to school, coming back home and not studying tape, or, you know, getting ready for the weekend, not prepping. So, you know, a lot with her business behind the scenes. Of course, not doing a lot because, you know, she has her team, but wherever she needs me, I help out with that. But really, my main focus is the kids, sports, school. I'm making sure I meet with counselors. Now my son's in high school, making sure he's taking the right AP courses because he wants to go to this school. And Not wait like it's a full-time gig, man. And for those moms at home that
imagine, bro. I feel you.
yeah, it's it's a trip, man. I mean, I've done it before, but I don't think that it's always the celebrity, the money maker, whoever's making the bread looks like they're kind of a person, but man, like the moms at home that's making sure the kids is doing, making sure the school is straight, home front is straight. Like, bro, that's a full-time job. And then by the time you even blink, you got to go back and pick them up from school. And now this one got practice after school at 6. This one got practice at 5:30. And so we going this way, getting back at 8:30. Meanwhile, the wife is trying to make sure dinner's on the table so we don't eat out. We eating at home. And it's really just like, and it just becomes monotonous over and over and over and over again. You look up, here goes Saturday. Now you all day at a tournament.
Yeah.
All day at a softball tournament. So man, if you're not gonna dedicate it, like having kids is, man, it's no joke, man. If you're gonna be a real parent, like that's how I look at it. Like, me and my wife are hands on, so both of us couldn't continue to do what we were doing and be successful as parents. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel you. I got 5.
I said that.
Got 5 at home.
Well, I have 3 adults, so I don't have to worry about them. I just they just money, but the kids, you gotta make sure they straight.
Yeah, so like I got 5 of them. I got 5 of them right now. I don't know if y'all can hear in the background. They running. They keep trying to open up this door to try to come here because now my 15-year-old here scheming with him. Yeah, I hear you in the background. He's scheming. He keep trying to sneak through the door because he want to try to sneak in here. No, he got homework to do though. So
they were trying to get his snacks. The other show, they were trying to get his snacks when he was in there. He had something.
Look, man. Look, you know they raided. They raided, man. The one day I went to work after that, man. After that, Brandon, they used the fact that I was on the phone with you, bro, and they literally, I come back, not one snack, bro. They didn't even leave a crumb, man. Not the whole cabinet, bro, was empty. It's empty, bro. They left. They didn't even leave a wrapper, bro. They took all of it's gone. That whole stash, I ain't got nothing no more.
Hey, you can't do nothing about it.
Nope.
That's a successful recon.
And you know what?
How many girls do you have?
I got 1 girl, and I got 4 boys at home.
Okay, man, them girls.
My daughter's 13. My son's 15, and I got the 9, 6, and the 3-year-old. My oldest son, who I don't get to see him very often, he's 17. And he the other one that that was trying to get a hold of me because he's like, "Dad, you're talking to a famous football player." I'm like, yes, son. Yes, son. And he's like, "Tell my son what's up." I said, "I'll let him know." That's so.
What's up, Trey? What's his name?
My oldest son, who's 17, his name is Trey Michael Williams. So
Trey, what's up, boss?
Yeah, my other son, he named after me. So he the 4th. My son Leroy the 4th. He the one that was trying to sneak in over here, trying to get in here, but he better do his homework first. I know you hear me.
Hey, he said he got a question, man. That homework ain't going nowhere.
No, he just gonna sit here and stare at you and just all cheesing and stuff. That's all he gonna do.
He can't stay at cheese. You gotta talk, man. You can't come and just look. You gotta say
my 15-year-old, he loves football. He will be here for another hour and a half talking. He'll probably be sitting here talking Brandon's ear off about football too. Because he definitely loves Brandon. He loves Brandon's show because the man knows his stuff, and because my son plays middle linebacker, but he also plays on offensive and defensive line. Yeah. And the fact that he knows that Brandon's an offensive lineman, he will sit here and talk offensive line and talk all day. I'll never get my son back if I let him over here. I'll never get him back. Man, so I love that kid.
C-Way, I had to ask you that question about all that because I had a follow-up which led me to this. We talked a little bit earlier and you shared with me something, and I don't know if you want to share with it, but who embodied all this? How did you become the father that you are, the laser focused? I mean, you are laser focused in, can't nobody get in, you're dialed in, family first, you're all about it. Nothing's going to get in your way. Who embodied that, and who did you have as a father figure to learn all of this?
It's crazy because I've never said daddy a day in my life. And my mom was 15, when she had me. So sometimes you can learn from what you don't have. You can see things. I know it's gonna sound corny, man, but like I had a huge crush on Felicia Rashad growing up because I was watching the Cosby Show all the time, and I was like, man, that's what's up right there, you know.
Yeah.
Beautiful wife like that, kids successful. And so, man, you know, watching the Cosby Show growing up, man, that was kind of the deal. Like I always wanted a family and a beautiful wife like Felicia Rashad, man. And so as I got older, you know, my uncle, he's been with his wife since high school. And, you know, it's funny because, you know, growing up in the streets of South Central LA, you know, we experienced some crazy stuff. And, but just watching him and his loyalty to his family, even though he was in the street, like his family always came first, but you wouldn't know that if you wasn't with him. You know what I mean? He understood how to keep his family in one spot while he do what he do. And so I was around to see it all. And, you know, again, just being able to see like he can still handle his business, but then he was still going grocery shopping. Late at night, we'd go grocery shopping and make sure he had groceries, and my aunt would cook for us in the morning. He would make sure the family was straight. And he was always like, they had a great friendship. They were together, you know, since they were young, and still to this day, they're together, man. So I've always admired that. You know, I think it's important for little girls and boys to have both parents, because even with me and my wife, you know, my son goes with my wife for certain things, comes with me for certain things. My daughter, on the other hand, she goes with my wife for everything. but she knows how to pry at me when she needs whatever she wants.
Oh yeah.
You know, so
I felt that.
yeah, and I love watching the relationship between my youngest daughter and my wife, man. It's bro, like at the end of the day, man, if we leaders, you know, this is God put us in the head of this. You know what I'm saying? This is a huge responsibility. So we
Sorry.
football leadership, you know, we put a lot of emphasis on guys who are Pro Bowlers and lead the football team. Man, the hardest thing to do is to be able to lead your wife and your kids, and not just financially, bro. Because at the end of the day, man, your kid, you can give your kid whatever money, but what kind of wisdom are you spilling them? What kind of time are you spending with them? You know, are you just showering them with gifts and not really sitting down and giving them no game on real life and not the fantasy world? You know, all that matters. You know, me and my wife went to a event here in Atlanta today where they was running a run for the food banks in Atlanta, and took the kids. You know, they have to understand that they're privileged and that there's a lot of people, even working people, don't, you know, they can't look at their food on the table and say, that wasn't good, I don't want that. They got to eat whatever they got. But these are the lessons that if you don't take your kids to that, they'll never see it, you know, because they get what they want with us. So I don't take parenting light at all. Like, matter of fact, it's the only thing that I want to, when I leave, I don't care less about anything I did sports-wise. I just want my kids to say, man, he's a hell of a dad. You know, I want my wife to be able to say, he's a hell of a dad, because that's what I'm really leaving behind is that bloodline, you know, and that's really what's important. Honestly, that's why you don't really see me and my wife in the limelight too much, because everywhere we go, our kids are with us. You know what I'm saying? We don't even really go on date nights because you'll see our kids with us. You know, we take a lot of pride in being parents. So that's the legacy I want to leave. It's not like how much money I left. That's just like, man, my dad was, you know, the lessons that I taught me. I remember when my dad said this, man, my dad got on my nerves with this, man. I just wanted to kick my dad out my room. But man, whatever he's talking about then, I'm actually doing that. You know, that's I think about that every day. It's not failing out father.
You're not the only one, my friend. You're not the only one. Speaking of,
and we need to get credit, man. You know, we don't never get credit for being daddies. You know what I mean? Like, it's like
exclusive club, man. Not everybody can join.
It's crazy, man. You know, I heard somebody say that men are not appreciated until they're gone in the house. I've heard a couple older guys say that, like, because I like to listen to older people, especially older men that's been married a long time. I like to sit there and listen to old people talk for hours, just because I just want to suck up all the wisdom and all the game. And you will see, man, we praise those people. Oh my God, they've been married 60 years. But then they like, nah, we went through some stuff. Like, nah, on the outside, it may look like this. And so those kind of things, when you're going through situations, you can be like, they went 60 years, but they had some rough parts right here. This is what got them to this,
Yeah.
So,
Real.
Family matters is the number one thing in life for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? This is something that when you're done raising your family and you're all set, I tell you what, the Bears, to have somebody in the building with your mindset, I could tell, man, you're laser focused, you're locked in. Ain't nothing gonna get in there that you don't want in there, man. And these kids coming up, they get kind of off the path of what really matters. And I really think somebody like you, not only just the nuances and the tape and the breaking down, but what they need to hear, because some of these kids, they're basically kids are raising kids nowadays, so they need that too, So it's refreshing to hear somebody, because like I said, you had me at hello playing at the Coliseum, man. I was just so excited. And then you get drafted by my Bears and my mind's gonna explode. I'm like, I can't take that. This is great, Man. But now in this chapter of my life, I think out of all that, this is what I truly appreciate the most, because I mean, seriously, as men, we got to stay focused, man. Like you said, we have an obligation, and it's the highest obligation, the most important thing that we could possibly do. And there's a lot of things in the way that could derail us from what matters the most, man. So thank you so much for being on the show and breaking it down, the X's and O's and the real life too, man. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate you, man.
Yeah, appreciate you guys having me on, man.
And okay, now my son's been trying to
There he is.
Hello.
What's up, man?
Not much.
How you doing?
Pretty good.
Is this Leroy 4?
Yes.
All right. Okay.
Yes. This is the one that's the middle linebacker. He's the one that took all the height and the good looks. It skipped my generation, went straight to him.
Straight to him.
Yeah.
You did your homework, man?
Yeah.
All right. I was going to let you in there without that homework, though, huh?
Yeah. You heard what he said, right? What you got?
A's and B's.
Yeah, that's what you got to stay that way.
Man.
Got to stay that way.
I love it, man. That's all right.
All right. You got to say hi to Mr. Conway now.
Now, I got a question for him.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you play middle linebacker?
Yeah.
Why middle linebacker? Why not like wide receiver?
I like to hit people. I like the feel. I like the aspect of the position. I like to see the people around me. I like the speed that the position has. Like, I like what it has to offer. I like being able to help other people and know what everyone else is doing, and still be able to see, like, I don't really know how to explain that, but
Quarterback.
Yeah. He likes to hit anything that moves.
Yep. I'll say anybody that has opposite colors, I like to hit. So.
Well, you dropped the mic with that. Yeah. That little linebacker. Yeah, you go hit.
Yeah. Hey, I tried, and look, full disclosure, I wanted him to be a wide receiver. I tried to make him a wide receiver and a quarterback, and he's got the hands and everything. And he looked at me and said, no, you're not finna embarrass me. I'm not finna show him the hand discrepancy. No, you're not. And he chose, he said, I didn't choose defense. Defense chose me. So I'm like, come on, man. So he killed me.
Hey, Pop, you can't say nothing about that. Hey.
No, I can't. I can't do nothing but smile. Can't do nothing but smile, man.
He ain't going over there for no superstar. He ain't going over there because he's going over. He said, no, man, the energy over there just brought me over here. This is what I do.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, and so he's been trying to get on this kid's been trying to get on the podcast with Brandon forever, and I just keep ignoring him. I keep like, you're not gonna take over my show. I won't get no.
Boy got some bass in his voice already too.
Yeah, he finished his homework. We gotta give him some love, man. He earned his spot tonight.
Yeah, he earned
his spot tonight.
Y'all talking about his head and be like this. He
earned his spot tonight. At least with me, I'm open for a question. He did that homework, so I'm good.
Yeah, that's fair. Fair enough.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
What did it take for you to get to the NFL?
Ooh. What did it take? There's a lot of things you have to do, and you'll face them as you meet them. But I tell my son, in everything you do, be the leader. Reason why you need to be the leader is because you might have a group of friends that you're cool with that might decide they want to do things other than what your goals are. So the leader don't follow nobody, no matter what they do, what they say, or how cool they are, nothing. Mentally, you don't have to walk around with your chest out and say, follow me. Because if you want to make it, you're going to always keep going toward where you're trying to go. And it's easy to have a cool friend to tell you, man, forget that, you good already. Let's go and do this. And if you get caught up in that because you're not the leader, because you already know doing that ain't what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be keep moving forward, because that was really, that's how I made it. I grew up with a lot of street guys.
Yeah.
But I was the leader, and I wasn't the leader of the game. I was the leader of me. So when they wanted to turn left, I'm going to practice. I'm going to school. I'm doing me, no matter who I hung around. That's what I mean. So always be the leader of you. Nobody, because and don't be afraid to come talk to Pops, because he gonna tell you what's up, and you might think he don't know what he's talking about. We thought that with our parents, so we know it's normal, but he want to see you succeed too, man. Nobody's gonna have your best interest like your parents. You know what I'm saying? So even though we might seem lame and don't know what we talking about, man, ain't nobody gonna love you and give you that real like your parents. So trust me, I got a 15-year-old that like literally tell me, you don't know nothing about football.
Oh God.
No, he's not that crazy, but he's a pretty smart kid. But that's just to know, I know how it is, with the parent and the kid situation. But in a nutshell, man, be a leader. Be a leader of you, and don't let nobody guide you in the wrong direction, because you already know right from wrong. So there's no excuse. You can say I didn't know, but yeah, you know. So when you're the leader of yourself, you can't give yourself that excuse.
Yeah.
That's what's up. I appreciate that.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. You need to patent that, CJ. Love that. Leader of me. Leader of me. That's good, man.
Yeah. See, a lot of people think they are because they're making decisions, but they're being influenced by something. You know what I mean? Like, we look up to certain people. Oh, they wearing this, so I'm gonna start wearing that. He got the new J's, so I want the J's. No, I want the J's because you want the J's. Go to practice because you want to go to practice, and everybody doing that. You know what I'm saying? That's what I mean, because we get influenced a lot by a little bit of everything, but if it's not going on your path, it's easy to knock off and keep going. Yeah.
I appreciate that so much. And I definitely appreciate you making sure he understood that I have his best interest. Sometimes he look at me like, nah, bro. Like, boy, I'm trying to tell you something. Hold on. Like,
I like this. I like this. Michael, I can't pronounce it. This Coel. This little comment going across, giving my boy Jeff Graham some love. We was the first duo in Chicago Bears to both have 1,000 yards in one season.
Yup.
A lot of people talk to me about me in the back-to-back, but we both had 1,000 yards, and we just think about it. Chicago's been known to run the football.
Yeah.
So to us that was a pretty good accomplishment. So my man Mike, shout out, man. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm gonna let you guys get to your show. Thank you, Mr. Conway.
Yes.
So, nice to meet you.
Man, I'll tell you what, C-Dub, I could listen to you all day in a phone booth. I don't know how you and I both fit in it, but or maybe even I could listen to you read out of the yellow pages, bro, but we got to wrap this up, man, okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much for your
I
time. Much
will
appreciated.
answer all your questions, man.
Yeah.
I saw how pumped you was last week. I said, I can't give it a short one.
Oh man, like this is awesome. This kid's gonna be sitting here bragging about this for a week now. I'm not gonna hear the end of it.
That's what's up.
Yes.
I'm glad I could do that.
Yeah, he's gonna be telling all his friends now. Oh, Trax, you're awesome, man.
All right.
I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I appreciate you guys are all awesome. And Chi-Town up and Bear down. Have a good night, everybody.